Hi Ron, welcome to your kettlebell training session. For today you're going to require two bells, one that will be used for strict overhead pressing, another one that's going to be a little bit heavier that we'll use for some heavier cleans. So depending on what your capability, what your capacity is, one bell for strict overhead pressing. We are going to add in some push pressing as well, but specifically you need to be able to push press it and then a weight up from that. Depending on what you have available to you, it's okay if you're going lighter to really focus in on the technique. There's no point in trying to go with a bell that's too heavy and then you can barely get the first rep or two. You're going to end up into a lot of bad patterns, bad habits with unnecessary shifting, and we really want to try and keep a lot of good tension and a lot of good position as we're doing this. So we're going to run through a warm-up and then you'll be able to follow along as we go into the work set. So to begin with, have your feet hip to shoulder width apart and just start with some light head mobility as you nod, turn the head, drop the ear. The point with this is not to try and overstretch the head or the neck in any way, but just to see what your range is like. So just gently moving up, down, and around. Okay, now move to rolling the shoulders. So we're focusing on rolling the shoulders back, starting to get a small wave moving through the spine. Now you'll move to circling, so almost like you're doing a standing backstroke. Just take one arm back at a time. Just checking in your range, so you might find just the one side a little bit stiffer or tighter than the other. That's okay. Just move within the range that's comfortable for your body. Then next you're going to take the arms out to the side and add in a corkscrew. Here your body will lightly turn from side to side, as will your head. Think of taking a towel and wringing the water out of a towel. So it's going to be the same thing with your arms as you corkscrew side to side. You're then going to move to touching the back of the head and lower back in an S touch. Here your hands don't have to touch, so it's wherever you can comfortably touch behind your head and lower back. Okay, now moving into a slightly wider squat position. You're going to place the hands on the knees. Just gently circle at the knees. Keep the feet down and small rotations going in both directions. Up. Then in single leg balance, you'll extend your right leg out, rotate at the foot as you make small ankle circles. So pay attention here to the heel moving and not just wiggling the toes. You'll then change left leg forward and rotate. Then focusing on the heel moving. Now going into some body weighted squats. Here have your feet hip to shoulder width apart. Okay, you want to focus on controlling your descent down into the squat, hips coming a little bit below parallel, up and down for 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check it out. Okay. Next, moving to a push-up position. Depending on your capability with a push-up, either you'll do 10 strict push-ups, either full range all the way down and up, or otherwise you'll just hold a plank position. As you set up on hands and knees, either hold the top of the plank, go halfway, or all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming up, take it out. So one thing to always remember is in between any of the exercises that you do, you want to take some light recovery, fast and loose. So whether it's a weighted exercise or body weighted exercise, coming up, having a little shakeout in between, shake out the tension, and then go into your next set or next exercise. We're going to do those squats again. Now a little bit quicker, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake it out. Back to push-up, and again you have the option to just hold plank position, setting up on hands and knees. Make sure that the legs stay locked out. 10 push-up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Up, shake it out. Okay, moving to the bells now. So as I say, you'll have a slightly heavier bell to the one that you'll be pressing. So if you start with that heavier bell, we're going to begin with some single arm deadlifting. Here, position yourself directly over the bell, and you'll do 5 single arm deadlift each side. So think of going down with 2 hands. The only difference is one will be out to the side. Avoid any heavy rotation into your spine or into your back. So if we go down with 2, remove out 1, 5 single arm deadlift. Down, change. Always focusing on the breathing. A sharp inhale through the nose, can be through the mouth, with a sharp exhale out as you compress air and brace into your abs. So that's always going to be key in any of your lifts. Okay. We're going to go one more time. Remember, with your hinging, and you'll use this for deadlift, swing and clean, that you want to get a 45-degree angle at the hips. So the upper part of the thigh at approximately 45, same with your upper body. What we always want to avoid is any type of tabletopping. So you really want to load and hinge your hips back. There's a bend at the knee, but it's not a squat. At the end point of your deadlift, your hip is higher than your knee. Okay, another 5 each side. Change. And down. Okay, now with that same bell, we're going to do a sequence of 3 movements. It'll be a dead stop swing, so that's where you start and finish on the bottom. It'll be a normal swing, immediately followed by a clean. So the sequence will look as follows: 1 dead stop, followed by a swing, followed by a clean. Going to the other side, 1 dead stop, 1 swing, 1 clean. Okay, a little shake out. So part of what we're working on here, other than continuing the warm-up, is getting additional weight into that rack position. So here, with the cleaning bell being heavier than what you're going to press, just to overload that rack position. Okay, we're going to repeat that sequence again. 1 dead stop, 1 full swing, 1 kettlebell clean. Dead stop, normal swing, followed by clean. shakeout, and other side. One dead stop, one swing, one clean. And shake it out. Always important that when the clean lands, you've already locked out your body. So that means we don't want to curl and lean back. So you need a sharp, explosive stand, and it's a quick uppercut motion so that by the time the bell lands, you've already locked out, ready to press, squat, or re-clean. Okay, now we're going to move to our pressing weight. Again, that's one down, maybe it's two down, again, it's at whatever level you are. The most important thing is that you're able to keep good, strong technique, and we're going to start with a strict press. So from that clean, as soon as the bell lands, tightly engage your hands, and you'll just start out with one military press each side. Clean the bell, press the bell, coming down. Clean the bell, press. Shake it out. Okay. With the press, you can take a 1 or 2 breath cycle. So what that means is you can either breathe in and out with the clean, and then breathe in and out with the press. Okay. Or you can take a 1 breath cycle, which is to breathe in, still holding the brace in the rack position, and then as you're pressing, exhale up. But it is important that you have an exhale on the press, because then that's where your exertion, that's where your effort's going to be. We're now going to add in a push press. So the push press, the clean is exactly the same, but just a slight bend and push above head. So we're going to do 1 push press on each side. Clean, push, clean, push. Now, we're purposefully using the legs here, so there is going to be a bend and stand that's taking place, okay, as opposed to the strict press where there's no bend in the legs, okay, and you want to stay locked out in the strict military press. With the push press, we're just helping getting through the sticking point, so that'll be used either if you are doing multiple reps where maybe you'll fatigue in the press position, or you're trying to press heavier weight, but for now we're going to stick to that. So the work set is going to be a strict press followed by a push press to the other side, strict press followed by a push press. So we'll look to do the first work set together. 1 strict press, down into rack, 1 push press, down, other side, clean, press, push, and down. They'll shake out. Okay, that press ideally is challenging enough that you can complete it, but not trying to do your absolute max press. As you're taking that rest, just lightly walk around, shake out tension. The reps are low for this work set, so a lot of what you want to focus on is strong tension. So as soon as the clean lands, strong tension through your grip, through your glutes, through your trunk, because we want to minimize any heavy shifting and leaning. Granted that as a bell gets heavier or as the reps increase, there is a natural shift that happens, but we really want to try and stay as tight as possible throughout the sequence. Okay, let's go. Second round, 1 press, 1 push press. Other side. down and shake out. Staying loose in between. Shake out any tension through the arms and through the legs. Coming now to the third work set, looking to do 5 total. Single clean, press, push. So, to the other side, clean, press, push, and down. Nice, done. Shake it out. With pressing, even though the focus is on the upper body, with the arm and the shoulders, it still requires a lot of lower body tension. So hence bracing through your legs, through your hips, through your trunk. So it's not only an arm or an upper body exercise. Okay, as with all the drills with kettlebells, essentially always a full body exercise. Okay, round number 4 of 5, clean press followed by push press. Other side. On that sequence, there was a 1 breath cycle of inhale to exhale, and then the other side did a 2 breath cycle. So you may have heard that. Again, it's a little bit of personal preference. I've gotten used to the single breath cycle just to be able to hold, also not have to waste any time once the bells landed in the rack position, but that's just something that you'll get better with over time. Okay, last one. Okay, work set 5 of 5, clean press push press. Okay, on that last one, I did a hand-to-hand swing change. This is something, if you're comfortable, that you can do. It just keeps the bell alive, keeps you in motion, but there's never an issue to put the bell down and then just go to the other side. In general, it's something you always want to focus on, which is that at any point in an exercise, at any point in a work set, if you're not feeling comfortable, not feeling stable, whatever the case might be, just park the bell, put it down, exercise safety first. The bell will always win, so if you're trying to train beyond your capacity, beyond your means, ultimately the bell is going to come down, and that's where you risk injury. So whatever the reasons are for it, put it down, have a little shakeout, then reset. Okay, so bear that in mind, and there's never any issue with stopping an exercise or stopping a rep to put down to reset. That's also why the emphasis of setting up is so important, and that when you are starting that initial hinge, that you get into the right position. If my feet, hips, back, knees aren't in the correct position in the setup, then what ends up happening is now I compensate through the work set, and you want to minimize that as much as possible. Okay, so that takes us through the pressing routine to start off with. We're going to go back to the heavier bell that you've got, or at least a challenging bell that you have, and this will be to focus in on the clean position, where now we're going to do 3 cleans per side. The key with the clean is always keeping the arm close to you. So the tendency that happens is people go away from their body and bang on their body. So you're going to do 3 cleans, keeping the arm close to you, as much contact as possible, where there's only going to be a change from the elbow down to the hand as you hinge back, then 3 cleans to the other side. What's also key is that the bell is not bouncing or banging off your body, so at the top of the clean you're tightening up and engaging full body tension. So we'll do the first work set. Again, we're going to end up doing 5, okay, 3 reps per side. Set your feet, hinge. So clean number 1, hold, clean number 2, hold, clean number 3, hold. Other side, clean number 1, 2, 3, and done. So I emphasize that slight pause so that the bell doesn't just bang and bounce off you, and that when you're re-cleaning, you're not throwing the weight out. You're trying to keep the arc of the bell as close to you as possible. Okay, work set number 2, 3 on each side. 1, 2, 3. Down, change. 1, 2, 3, and down. What we'll add in here for the remaining work sets is, if you are comfortable with a hand-to-hand change, allowing the bell to swing out, change hand on hand. If you're still working on the hand-to-hand change, just park the bell, and then you can swing, or you can clean, to the other side. 3 and 3. And down. Shake it out. Part of the key with the clean is keeping a moderately soft hand. If your hand is too tight and you're gripping too much in the clean, the bell's going to pull and possibly tear the skin. So a lot of the feeling in the clean is how you can keep your hand just soft enough that then the bell rotates but doesn't pull excessively on the skin. That's 3 work sets down. This is number 4, 3 and 3. You can swing change or put the bell down. Shake it out. Again, we are focusing on keeping the reps low, so you can really focus on quality of movement. The goal though would be, say if you were doing a clean specific routine with a high volume of cleans, say 100 broken up into sets of 5 or 10 at a time, is that the first clean has to look like the last clean. And as hard as it might be, especially cardiovascularly, is they have to look the same to emphasize how you're using your hips properly. So that's why with these low reps, you can really dial in to have the full amount of tension and the correct technique. Okay, last work set. And down. Shake it out. A little bit of fast and loose. Keep yourself as hydrated as you need to during the session, but ideally you've had quite a bit to drink before the start of training. Just something as simple as water, warm water with a little bit of a pinch of salt in it, because you are going to lose salt during the training. And then while you are training, nothing wrong if you have a preferred drink, but try and keep it simple with just water. The intensity here is going to be relatively moderate, so nothing that's too high intense or too extreme, but just maintain that hydration through the session, just drinking a little bit in between work sets. Okay. Moving now to using both the bells, and we're going to use them offset, so one is a little bit heavier than the other, but what we're going to do is focus on a suitcase deadlift. So very much like carrying your groceries or any suitcase, you're going to have the bells to the outside of the legs. Okay, my suitcase deadlift is a little bit narrower than my normal deadlift, and quite simply as I hinge, the bells will pass to the outside of the leg and stand. Okay. Whether you're doing one or two weights, the point is that you're not tipping to the side. So you're going to do 5 suitcase deadlift, then we're going to switch arms. This will be 3 work sets. So hinge, stand. Put the bells down, change, switch them around. And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. Have a shake out, nice and loose. Okay. You should feel no strain in your lower back or your knees, and that all of the work, all of the load is taking place through your legs, through your hips, but then with the correct hinge, that there is no discomfort transferring to your lower back or to your knees. Okay, going to second work set of 3. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax, shake out. Move around. Move arms and legs. Now we've got one more work set to go. Setting up, having the bells ready. And last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Very good. That was resting. And have a little shake out. Get some water if you need. Keep yourself loose, moving around. Okay, the last kettlebell exercise that we're going to do will be a hike, swing to catch. So this effectively is what you do when you're setting up for a goblet squat. So setting up behind the bell, whereby you're going to hike between the legs as you come up catching. You're catching on the horns of the bell, which are the outside arms, the outside portion of the bell that you can hold like 2 horns. Now we're just going to catch it there. So very similar to what happens in a clean, where you clean and stop at the top. Okay, you're going to catch because you're going to avoid leaning back. So the movement looks like this. Hiking back between the legs, you're going to come vertically up as close to you as possible. Basically think of a wall in front of you, and you don't want to hit the wall, and that when you reverse it, you're partially letting the bell go, but more sliding your hands to the top to then catch behind you. So we're going to do 5 catches with a slight pause at the top, exactly what you did in the clean. Once you've done the 5, you're going to put those down. And let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shake it out. Stay nice and loose, stay active. As was the case for the clean, is you are making sure by the time the bell lands, you've stood up tall, braced, squeeze your butt, flex your quads, brace through the trunk and the midsection of the body. So it's not only about abdominal tension, but actually trying to feel tension through glute, through the trunk, and that the cylinder around the midsection of the body is stable to avoid you going back. Okay, second work set, and go. Shake it out. As you catch, elbows stay close to your body. You don't want the elbows flaring out. Okay, we're going to do one more work set, setting up for your hike, and go. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. Even though you're focusing on the arms catching the bell, it's very much a hip driven movement. Your hands need to move quickly enough so that you're not trying to bicep curl the weight up. So what's key in that catch, what's key in the clean, is that it's not turning into a bicep curl. If your forearm or upper arm feel pretty pumped and pretty worked, then you've been using more of your arms and not enough of your hips. Okay, just to practice that, we're going to do one more set. So there should be an element of the weight almost floating because you're moving your hands, allowing your legs and hips to do the work, not curling, not leaning back. Okay, let's go one more. 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And always emphasizing the breathing during the exercise. Inhale and exhale, and then when you're done, some recovery breathing, slow breaths in and out, also some sharp breaths in and out. So you always want to stay moving, avoid lying down or just collapsing on your back. The purpose of your training is to challenge you, is to push you, is to make you stronger, but not to kill you that you can't breathe, can't say your name, and that you're so gassed out that you feel like throwing up. That shouldn't be the point of training. Where training gets harder, whether you're focusing on more grind movements or more ballistic movements, is the ability to increase load over time rather than just going all out in your first session or trying to sustain a constantly high volume. So it's the slow increase and progression of load and volume over time that will allow you to essentially push harder as opposed to trying to do too much too soon. Okay, move your bells to the side. You can come down to the ground, and we're just going to do some light reaching. So just alternate stepping forward with a different leg. Reach the arm, and you can reach up, you can reach low, you can rotate, you can reach both up, you can reach the opposite one forward. And just work on rotation through the hips. Now in a tall kneeling position, you're going to wrap the arm, take the opposite hand to the head. Don't pull the head, but just guide the chin down. Then switch, change sides. Hand to the head and lightly drop Interlock the fingers, lightly roll the hands and the wrist forward, and then roll backwards. Wrap the arms behind the back, gently rotate through the neck, and as you've seen in the warm-up, and we'll also focus in a cool down and just for general mobility, is keeping a healthy range through the neck, where a combination of a lot of sitting, a lot of time, texting and over devices creates a lot of tension through the trap through the neck, especially when you've done quite a lot of upper body work. The stress of training can add to the already accumulated stress from your day-to-day posture and positions. So you want to feel that there's always a healthy range through your neck, that ideally that there's no creaks, cracks or grinding. If there's excessive grinding, then just make the motion a lot smaller, as you don't want to be grinding on the vertebra of your neck. Okay, come to sitting. Just relaxing the arms, relaxing the shoulders, keeping the spine tall. And while the breathing at the start of the session is always key to help to check in, breathing at the end of the sessions also helps a lot just to down regulate the body, cool you down, relax the nervous system after the stress of your training. So just sitting nice and tall. If you need a cushion or a pad underneath your hips, you can do so. And just focusing on a couple slow breaths. Ideally by now your heart rate has come down. Focus on breathing in and out through the nose. Breathing into the belly, expanding the ribs. Take one more deep breath in and fully out. Okay, nicely done. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you did well, and then we'll see you for the next training session.